Ukraine has received several types of multiple rocket launchers from its Western allies, but M270 MLRS and M142 Himars definitely stand out in the media due to their achievements. These systems are actually closely related. M270 now is actually sort of like a double HIMARS. But is one M270 really as good as two HIMARS? M270 MLRS and M142 Himars are actually pretty much the same weapon systems. Both use the same rockets and launchers. The difference is that HIMARS is significantly lighter and more mobile, hence its full name High Mobility Artillery Rocket System. This is because HIMARS has 6 rocket launchers, while M270 has 12, sort of like two HIMARS modules. HIMARS is also not as well armored. Due to the increase in ammunition load, M270 has a fully tracked chassis from the Bradley fighting vehicle. It weighs around 25 tons. Meanwhile, a significantly lighter HIMARS pushes the needle on the scale to just over 16 tons. This is a huge difference. Plus, add the wheeled chassis and you will understand why HIMARS has high mobility in its name. The maximum speed of M270 is 64 km per hour. Which is not that bad for basically a tank with MLRS on the top. Meanwhile HIMARS can go 85 km per hour, which is near highway speeds. And it's not just that, HIMARS can safely go on asphalted roads without making a huge mess. M270 would destroy asphalt to bits, but it is significantly better off-road. All in all, M270 can deliver a stronger strike, more rockets, while HIMARS is more mobile. It can hit and run much more efficiently. Ukrainian military observer Mihailo Zyrokov summed up the difference in these words: M270 is a rocket salvo system that uses the same missiles as the M142 Himars. The difference is that HIMARS is a wheeled vehicle based on an ordinary American military truck, and the M270 is a tracked vehicle based on the Bradley fighting vehicle. They use the same ammunition. HIMARS can launch one block of 6 rockets, and M270 twice as many. This doesn't mean that one is better than the other. M270 is actually a much older system, designed in 1977 and put to service in 1983. HIMARS was developed later and started its service just 12 years ago in 2010. And both are still used. M270 has better off-road stability, twice as many launchers and better armor for the crew. It can be used when mobility is not key to the operation, although they don't stay in the same spot for long anyway. Meanwhile M142 Himars shoots its load and disappears. Its main advantages are related to mobility. Ukraine received its M270 systems from the UK and Germany, the latter ones might still be on their way. And the US was the main supplier of HIMARS to Ukraine. Both of these systems quickly became well-known in the Russian forces as they have already destroyed multiple bases, warehouses and stockpiles deep behind the front lines. M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System HIMARS. The M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System HIMARS is a light multiple rocket launcher developed in the late 1990s for the United States Army and mounted on a standard U.S. Army family of medium tactical vehicles FMTV M1140 truck frame. The HIMARS carries one pod with either 6 guided multiple launch rocket system rockets or one ATACMS missile. It is based on the U.S. Army's FMTV 5-ton truck, and is capable of launching all rockets in the multiple launch rocket system family of munitions. HIMARS ammunition pods are interchangeable with the M270 MLRS. It has a single pod, as opposed to the standard 2 for the M270 and its variants. The launcher can be transported by C-17 Globemaster, C-5 Galaxy, and Lockheed C-130 Hercules aircraft. The FMTV truck that transports the HIMARS was initially produced by Armor Holdings Aerospace and Defense Group Tactical Vehicle Systems. Division, the original equipment manufacturer of the FMTV. It was produced by the Oshkosh Corporation from 2010 to 2017. The HIMARS is similar in design to the M270 Multiple Launch Rocket System MLRS, with the main exception being that it is a wheeled vehicle as opposed to a tracked vehicle. The HIMARS can carry the same type of pods as the M270, but carries one pod while the M270 carries two pods. The HIMARS windows are made of sheets of sapphire laminated with glass and polycarbonate. The HIMARS was also tested as a unified launch system for both artillery rockets and the SLAM-RAAM surface-launched variant of the MRAAM anti-aircraft missile. In October 2017, a Marine Corps HIMARS fired a rocket while at sea against a land target for the first time from the deck of the amphibious transport dock USS Anchorage, demonstrating the system's ability to operate while on ships to deliver precision fire from a standoff range against shore defenses. The vehicle's targeting software was reworked so it can better fire while on a launch platform in motion. By early 2022, Lockheed Martin was producing HIMARS at a rate of 48 launchers annually, but following the start of the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine that rate was increased to 60. In October 2022 the company announced it would boost production to 96 systems annually in response to increased demand caused by the war. Limitations in building new industrial capacity means it will be several months before production can be ramped up from 5 to 8 vehicles monthly. M270 Multiple Launch Rocket System M270 MLRS. The M270 Multiple Launch Rocket System M270 MLRS is an American armored self-propelled multiple launch rocket system. The U.S. Army variant of the M270 is based on the chassis of the Bradley fighting vehicle. The first M270s were delivered in 1983, and were adopted by several NATO and non-NATO militaries. The platform first saw service with the United States in the 1991 Gulf War. It has received multiple improvements since its inception, including the ability to fire guided missiles. M270s provided by the United Kingdom have seen use in the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. In the early 1970s, the Soviet Union had a clear advantage over US and NATO forces in terms of rocket artillery. Soviet doctrine dictated large-scale bombardment of a target area with large numbers of truck-mounted multiple rocket launchers (MRLs) such as the BM 21" Grad. By contrast, US artillerists favored conventional large-caliber artillery for its relative accuracy and logistical efficiency. As a result, U.S. rocket artillery was limited to the remaining stock of World War II-era systems. This mindset began to change following the 1973 Yom Kippur War, which saw heavy casualties, especially from rear-area weapons like surface-to-air missiles (SAMs). Israel effectively employed rocket artillery against these targets. The United States predicted that this requirement would persist in the event of a war in Europe. Thus, the need had arisen for a system that could engage enemy air defenses and provide counter-battery fire, freeing large-caliber artillery units to provide call-for-fire artillery support for ground forces. The MLRS was initially conceived as the General Support Rocket System (GSRS). In December 1975, the U.S. Army Missile Command issued a request for proposal to industry to assist in determining the best technical approach for the GSRS. In March 1976, the Army awarded contracts to Boeing, Emerson Electric, Martin Marietta, Northrop and Vought to explore the concept definition of the GSRS. In September 1977, Boeing Aerospace and Vought were awarded contracts to develop prototypes of the GSRS. In 1978, the U.S. Army Aviation and Missile Command made changes to the program so that the GSRS could be manufactured in Europe. This was to allow European nations, who had been independently pursuing their own MLRS programs, to buy into the program. In July 1979, the United States, West Germany, France and the United Kingdom signed a Memorandum of Understanding for joint development and production of GSRS. In November 1979, GSRS was accordingly redesignated the Multiple Launch Rocket System. Both competitors delivered 3 MLRS prototypes to the Army. The Army evaluated the MLRS prototypes from December 1979 to February 1980. In May 1980, the Army selected the VOT system. In early 1982, VOT began low-rate initial production. In August 1982, the first production models were delivered. In early 1983, the first units were delivered to the 1st Infantry Division. In March 1983, the first operational M270 battery was formed. In September 1983, the first unit was sent to West Germany. European nations produced 287 MLRS systems, with the first being delivered in 1989. Some 1,300 M270 systems have been manufactured in the United States and in Western Europe to date, along with more than 700,000 rockets of all kinds, with over 60,000 GMLRS guided munitions produced.